Welcome. I'm your host, Susan Grau. Join me for an extraordinary journey that surpasses the boundaries of the unknown. I offer insights into this life, the afterlife, near-death experiences, and healing for the soul. You'll receive answers to the questions about where your loved ones are in spirit and a clearer understanding of where we go when we leave this consciousness. The truth of life and the afterlife will be revealed. Join me right here, right now on Infinite Life, Infinite Wisdom. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Infinite Wisdom, where we talk all things afterlife. I'm your host, Susan Grau. I am a speaker, a teacher of the metaphysical arts, a grief therapist, a soul healer, and a medium intuitive. It's so nice to have you here. So, I get a lot of questions about what happens to us when we die. And when we leave this physical body and transition, people wonder, what are we doing up there? What happens, number one, when we leave our bodies? And number two, what are we doing on the other side that's keeping us busy? And so we're going to have that chat today. So let's take a deep dive. So when we are preparing to leave our physical body, whether it be in a moment's notice or for a long period of time, getting preparation for that change, we are spiritually transitioning into our spirit beings, meaning we are light. We are over the weight of our physical bodies. And we are slowly releasing that. So you'll see someone who's possibly in a coma or a semi-coma, and you'll see them pop in and out of their bodies. That's slowly releasing and acclimating to the other side. For those of us that have instant loss or leave our bodies instantly, there's a different kind of reaction. And that is, we are the light instantly. There is no preparation. And we're moving through the tunnel. We feel a tunnel or a dark area. For me, it was a well. But for some people, most people, they'll call it a tunnel, or we refer to it as the tunnel, where there is all kinds of beautiful energies involved in our journey, and we feel spirits around us. We see light, we see brightness. We're moving towards that. We're kind of in a downtime, what I call it the downtime, because we're in a spiral, but it's gentle and soft and loving, and it's filled with warmth, almost like getting in a warm bath. And turning out your lights and putting a candle on, you can see that candle is all you can see, and you're seated into a warm bath. That's what it feels like to go through that tunnel. Some people go rather quickly through it, which is like being on a slip and slide. Think about that. Or, when you were a little kid and you'd go down a slide, or when you're swimming in a pool underneath the water, and you're moving fast. Some people liken it to that. So it just depends upon what your experience needs to be as you're going through that afterlife journey. When I say what your experience needs to be, what I mean by that is how you view it. So I know for me, they came as I understood them. And what happened to me was very similar to what I'm sharing with you now. I did not look back at my body. So when we have an instant, spontaneous leaving of the body, a lot of times we'll look back and we'll be watching, like, who is that? What is that? Is that me? Is that what I look like? We look very different from the outer shell, right? And as we're looking at it and resonating in the energy of what's occurring at the moment, we're also being pulled up and closer to that light. What I know about spontaneous release is that we don't necessarily feel any anxiety or trepidation or fear. And that's the wonderful part of crossing, right? Is that we don't have those emotions taking hold of us. We actually have been there before, so we are familiar with it. It's all familiarity all around us. And we also feel a sense of peace and light. And when I say light, I mean physically light and spiritually light. So as you're crossing over and you're beginning to go into that light and you're starting to have conversations, you may see a loved one, you may not. I was too young. Hadn't lost a loved one. I didn't know that experience, but I did see what I would consider to be people I may have known or knew on the other side. So, but they just weren't bonded to me. Also, you might hear speaking. So, a lot of times people will hear talking, very soft whisper like talking, people, speaking among themselves or spirits speaking amongst themselves about what's going on with you or that you're there or just having a conversation with you, like we're here with you. You are safe. You are grounded, part of the whole, and those kinds of messages. And then most people tell me that they hear music. I did. Most people tell me they hear music, and it's this beautiful melodic, almost well song sound, which is phenomenal. I mean, how many people can compare to that, actually hearing that through their own lens? And everything is through our lens, by the way, when we're leaving here and going there, just like we see life through our own lens here. One person sees something one way and we see it another way, and it's like that there also. So our consciousness becomes one with the consciousness there, which just simply means that we become one in love. We are all experiencing a love base and a love energy around us. And although we take ourselves with us, what I believe is from our last incarnation, the one I'm just leaving, we do feel a group consciousness and we recognize that we've never been alone like we feel here and that we are always in that beautiful state of having connection as we are here if we would take the time to recognize it and or release our limiting beliefs that tell us we aren't with others here. So as you cross over, you're not lonely, you're not afraid, you're not confused. None of those things are there. We don't think little and small like the human existence, because here we do. We think little and small, and we think they think like us, but that's really little and small if you think about it. So then as we move through seeing our life review. Some people tell me it feels like a shower without water. It's a shower of light, and they get to experience a cleansing. Some people tell me that they have a whole movie play before them of their beginning, middle, and end, and the things in between and what it felt like. That feels more like the experience I would understand. Some people tell me that it just feels like someone's speaking to them and telling them their journey and what they need to be looking at. So everyone has a little bit different review, maybe based on what their experience was here, because again, we take us with us. And we do have the consciousness that we have been living a life, a human life, that doesn't leave us. So important to remember. And after we have this beautiful review, and let me just say this with a review, it's never punishment. A review is something we feel to recognize the good and maybe the not so good, and to learn how to do it differently, to learn how to say, I could have done that differently, and I will next time, and I would never want to make someone feel the way I made them feel. You do feel as if you are the person that you've caused harm to. I always think about that when I'm dealing with people. I always try to be loving and forgiving and kind. And I'm not always, but I try to be. And the reason I try to be is, one, I don't want to suffer the consequence on the other side, but two, I don't want them to suffer either. So when we get to the other side, we do have to look at those experiences and how what we did or did not do affected someone and caused some harm. Again, it's not a punishment. I really believe that what we feel is like, oh, I wish I would have done that differently. It's not really a regret. It's more of a learning process. So once we go through that, then we get put into the general population. I really believe that if we are very negative energies that have caused immense harm on this planet, murder, child abuse, things like that, I believe we get taken somewhere and heal that part of our soul. I think it's an absolute necessity. Some people believe that they're instantly healed. I know that there is a healing beginning instantly at the minute that we cross. So it's not as if we can't heal, but I do believe that they want to make sure that we understand the consequences of our actions. Actions like that have deep consequences to our soul. And it's not that our soul is damaged, but our soul certainly feels the trauma and pain of our choices. And so that's a way for us to heal. After that happens, we get put in the general population. And what that simply means is we go to our soul family and we are able to connect with others that aren't in our soul family because they're going to be part of our journey too. They may come in at a time just to bring us a little love and light when we get here, or they may be one of our guides. They may help us walk through something. But our soul family is the core family that we repeat the journey with over and over again. As we're going through, reconnecting with our soul family, which takes time. I know when I see my family, I want to sit and process things just on the human plane. I want to process things. I want to secure my comfort with them. I want to know that they still love me, that they understand me. I want to process. And it's very important that we have that time. And that does take a lot of time. There are a lot of people in our soul family that are connected to our souls that we have chosen to group with. I call it a soul group that we've chosen to group with, to have a life experience with, so that we get that experiential journey together so we can talk about it and learn together. We do meet up with our higher selves. I forgot to share that. Our higher selves are always on the other side. I think if we brought our highest self here, we'd implode. Can be a very dark, difficult place because it is experiential and we learn through pain. We also learn through joy, but we learn through pain. So, we meet up with our highest self and we have a conversation, and I believe, meld back together or blend back together. And there's an instant knowing of what the experience brought us. So the highest self wants those lessons. So someone asked me in a podcast, actually, if our souls are perfect, like you say, Susan, why do we need to have more lives, and why do we have to have experiences? Why does it need to grow? And I try to explain that anything infinite needs to continue in growth. It's infinite. It continues. It moves through. It moves on. And when we're growing, we're going to learn through experience. And so that is why the soul can be perfect and also continue to learn through difficult, dark times and joyful times. Infinite, hence infinite lessons, right? So our souls reconnect, and we then begin the process of unloading, what I would call it. I've never used that word before, but it makes sense to me right now. We're uploading everything that occurred, and then we're unloading the things that we don't need anymore. And the things maybe that we've learned from, the processes that we've learned, the lessons we've learned. And as we unload all of that, we become free, completely free. And all of that knowledge that we gained from being on this planet is integrated into our highest self. So after we go through those experiences, we meet the elders, we meet the guides, we meet the angels at source. All of those are part of our afterlife journey, just like they are here. Because we don't connect in with them here, it doesn't mean they're not here. They are. It's kind of saying, I always tell people, you may not believe that in something, or let's say you don't believe in tomorrow, but tomorrow will be here regardless of whether or not you believe in it or not. It will be here. And it's the same thing for the spirit world. Whether we believe in it or not, they are here. And so we get to be on that other side, connecting in with the higher, I don't want to call it hierarchy, but I don't know a better word, the higher vibrational energies, which is a hierarchy in some form, but it is not a controlling, bossy, hierarchy. It's not like that. But they've had many, many lives, or maybe they haven't had any lives, but they come from pure spirit, like the angels. So in order for a guide to guide us here, they have to have many, many lives, right? Because otherwise they wouldn't be able to help us. They wouldn't know what to do to help us. So after we have this beautiful communion, and we're all getting to know each other again, we are ready to do things. So maybe I wanted to learn how to ride a motorcycle. Maybe I'll learn that there because I didn't do it here. Or maybe I just loved the freedom of it and I want to do it there too. So my belief is, and what I witnessed is that if we think it, and I say think it with our souls, we do not have our brain with us, we're thinking it with our souls, that we can experience it. So now that we've had these actual experiences, we can then experience them on the other side. That's why it's so important to come here. It's why it's so important to continue coming and getting more and more experiences so that we can have that on the other side. Without the experience, we don't have the knowledge. We just have the basic fundamentals, but we don't have the actual learning knowledge. So I experienced seeing motorcycles. I experienced riding on the back of one. I've experienced what that looks like, and it looks really freeing and all those things. So maybe I'd want to ride a motorcycle on the other side. And, or again, I may have loved being the driver of a motorcycle or being on one, and I may jump on one there because I've had that experience. Now it's a reality. So instead of just learning book knowledge or someone telling me about it, I've lived in it. And to think that we could do all the things we need to do and learn everything we'd like to learn that can happen on this earth plane in one lifetime is just ego. It's impossible. So I believe that's why we continue to come back. Also, I believe we choose to come back for another reason, and that is we want to re-experience. I want to re-experience making love and getting married, falling in love, having babies or adopting children. Whatever it is that my journey was, I want to re-experience those things. And with that, unfortunately, comes hardship because that is part of being in the human condition. But I say unfortunately very carefully because I want you to remind you that those hardships are our greatest teachers. They truly are. I mean, when we're in pain, we want out. So we're going to hustle through it and we're going to learn what we need to learn. When we're warm and cozy and everything's going well, we don't want anything to change. We don't want any growth. We want it to stay just like it is. That's never going to happen on this planet, by the way, but we want it that way. So after we integrate or reintegrate with our loved ones and our families, now we're having these experiences. And these beautiful experiences can be, maybe I didn't get to, which I didn't, get to experience birth here. So maybe I'll want to learn about that there or experience it there. I certainly was with people who gave birth. I was in the rooms with them. And I learned all about birth and pregnancy. I've been around many, many, many pregnant people, as most of you have. And maybe I want to have that experience. And with that desire comes the action. And that experience takes us to the next level of understanding. I wouldn't know what that would look like if I hadn't come here and seen it and already had a particular experience with it. I would just have studied it. So we start having these beautiful experiences. Now, there are different kinds of spirits there. One of them is a caller. So this will be an example. If I'm a caller, I've decided that I want to help people cross. So when I worked hospice, I would see people standing, or spirits standing by a bed, calling people over. Come with me. You're safe. It's time to go. And I had one experience with my father when that happened. And he said, Susie, they're here. And I could see them. And he said, they're getting too close for comfort. I'm not ready yet. And they backed away. And so, the callers come and they are there as a support system. And that is a beautiful job to have. And it's very much an honor, but it is also very intensive. So we are helping people cross back to their home, and they are afraid. People fear leaving their bodies, just like we fear getting born, we fear leaving here. And yet we made that contract. That was one of the things we decided. Every human being and spiritual being, every animal, every creature, every breathing being, even fish, made a contractual decision to come and leave. None of us were going to stay. That was not the agreement. And yet we all fear it, or most of us. So the callers help us not have fear. So there's a piece to that, having someone standing there with that kind of beautiful, energetic vibration, helping us cross. And then our loved ones, of course, come. So being a caller is an honor. And many people do it because we all the billions of people that come in and out of this journey, we all leave this planet. So we need lots of callers, don't we? But it's still a great honor. We have spirits that want to help other spirits. Maybe they were drug addicted here and they decide that they want to help people who have crossed because of overdose, because they overdosed and they understand that process. So they go back where I haven't overdosed as of yet. And I hope I don't. But my point here is that they understand that process. I would not. So they actually understand it in experience. So they can actually help them, the people who are crossing that way, to have an understanding of what's happening to them. If we have a heart attack and that's how we leave, we understand that experience. So we can help others who have had a heart attack understand what's happening to them as they're leaving. Because as we're leaving our bodies, we still have an attachment. There's like a vine that attaches us in some way to our body. So we have to release that attachment. I really believe that that's what we're witnessing when we see someone in an old home, is that they're still attached and they want to be. Maybe they had a great experience there. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they just love sitting in that one space that you see them sitting in, and they love to be there. And that's the after effects. Does that mean their whole spirit's there? No, it doesn't. There's an imprint of our energy and what we want in our journey. So if we want to sit on a stairway or we want to drive in a car, we can have the experience of being in those environments. But most likely, we'll do most of it on the other side. That's why we don't see ghosts everywhere we go. I see spirits. I don't call them ghosts. I see spirits from the other side that come here to redo something or re-experience or just want to hang out. They just want to hang out, which is really cool. If you think about us taking us with us, and we don't take every part of us. We don't need our brain. It's filled with junk, but we do need the soul memory and the heart memory. And those are the things that we'll learn from. But if you think about how powerful it is that we want to have these experiences go with us, and we actually can take them, it's pretty cool. It's pretty powerful. So we're not just up there floating around like some abstract ball of light. That's not what it looks like. Can we? Yeah, we can. When I see orbs, I always know it's a spirit trying to travel, and it's very efficient to travel like an orb, isn't it? I mean, it's easy. Light can go through anything. So that's how they travel here. But are they always just a ball, an orb there? No, they are consciousness. Now, keep in mind, when I say we are one consciousness, we are singular and we are one. Just like we are here, we're all one in the fact that we're all human, but we are singular in design. We have our own experiences. They may be similar, but they're ours. So whatever our soul learned here will be our own experience on the other side. And we can share that through that collective consciousness. And that's the cool part. Do we always decide to come back here? Absolutely not. We might decide to go to a different dimension. We might decide not to come back at all. I doubt that. I do. But I think we come here to reach a highest vibrational level that we can get to. And that's infinite, guys. It's infinite. So we're going to want to continue and grow and grow and grow. But as we raise our vibration, we are a higher vibrational being. We are better for it. And being a higher vibrational spirit on the other side is pretty cool. So we want to get as high as we can, especially if we want to communicate with source. Something that high in vibration would not have an easy communication with us if we were vibrating on a human level, a really low level. So we want to get that vibrational energy up. And the higher we vibrate, the more powerful we become. The highest of vibrations is love. And I have to say, even in my journey here, I have not always felt love. Sometimes I feel what I might call hate. Someone else might call just disdain or dislike. When somebody's hurt me really badly, I go through phases where I feel that until I can release it. I try not to hate. I always try to love. I may not like, but I always try to love. I also always try to display love and give love as much as I can. I don't always achieve it. I wish I could. but I'm having a human experience, and so are you. So forgiveness of self is extremely important, which, by the way, we also do on the other side. We have a lot of forgiveness for our errors or our ways because we know they taught us something. So we understand on the other side the beginning, the middle, and the end. Now, what I mean by that is ours, not everyone else's. We have free will here. So we may understand it, but we don't know everyone else's beginning, middle, and end. But because we've already had the beginning, middle, and end on this planet, and we're on the other side, we now understand why we did what we did, why we shared how we shared, why we communicated the way we communicated, why we caused harm in areas, why we felt hurt, why we rejected, why we felt rejected, etc. So being on the other side is a really peaceful, beautiful, warm existence, but it also carries with it experiences. So I am grateful for those experiences, even the ones that caused me great pain. Losing my brothers and my mother to suicide was a great pain for me. But I appreciate those experiences now because they have taught me so much about my resilience and my strength, my empowerment, how to treat others, how to recognize when someone's in that space or hopefully recognize it. I don't always know what to do, but I do recognize it so I can be of service in some way. So I'm grateful for those experiences. Well, we feel the same way on the other side, and we could be of service here. I love that we can go in and out of both worlds. I know for some of you who meditate and are really good at it, you go in and out of both worlds. Or maybe in your dreams, you go in and out of both worlds. Or when you're connecting to spirit, you're going in and out of both worlds. But this is intensive. This is like I'm all in there and I'm all in here if I want to be. Pretty cool. I love the experience of the afterlife. After that, we decide what it is we want to do with our journey. And again, it could be that maybe I want to be artistic in my next journey because I'm not very artistic here. I'm a stick person drawer. So I'm not very artistic here, but I can say that maybe I want to be. And so maybe I'll learn art. And then when I come back here, I'll understand it because I've seen art with my own eyes. I've experienced it as an experiential relationship. That's what I'm having here, experiential relationship with things, places, people. So on the other side, I may decide, you know what, I'm going to do this and I want to do that. There's things that I saw that I have never done that I want to learn and experience. It's an exciting time to make change and to decide what we want that to look like again. And what we are going to learn from it. We're very much in growth at all times. Even here we are. Tell me one person that you know that has no growth living on this planet. It's impossible. It could be the negative or the positive, but they're still going to grow and they're going to shift and change with each decade or each experience. So we have the same growth there, just not quite as quickly because we don't have the experiences. So we decide what that's going to look like for us. And fortunately, we have the ability to then step into those experiences when we come back here. And how long does that take? I think it's individualized. I know that we get in that group of our soul group and we decide, what's it going to look like this time? What am I going to do? What are you going to do? What role are you going to play in my journey to help me? And what role can I play in your journey to help you? That's pretty cool, that we have that closeness and that caring and that love. So as we make that decision, then it's who comes back first or who comes back together. Twins come together. Maybe they didn't want to separate their twin souls. Who knows what that's all about. But what I do know is we can make those decisions. It'd be kind of cool to be a twin. Maybe I'll do that next time. So that's what goes on there. And then, of course, we learn. There is infinite lesson there. Just like here, while we're here, you never stop learning and growing. There, you never stop learning and growing. And although, again, it's slower, there are infinite things to learn and to experience, especially in love. Love has so much depth to it. It's not just a word, it's an action. So maybe we move through things with love and we start introducing ourselves to outside of our loved ones that we're doing our journey with. Maybe we're introducing ourselves to others. Maybe we are resonating and understanding the energy of how they love and what their light is. But I know one thing, our light never dims there, never. We are always the light there. And here our light dims and comes bright again and dims and becomes bright again. And that's just part of the journey. So that's what happens when we pass. And then we make a decision at some point to come back and boom, here we are. Always remembering that we made the agreement that we would not stay as part of the soul contract. That's why it's always so shocking to me that we fight so hard to stay here because we think there's no other existence. But that's such a non-truth. And, I think we also fight to stay here because we want to make sure that our egos are filled, and our egos don't understand that the world can continue to grow and go on, regardless of whether we're here or not. Another thing people ask me a lot is, why do we come here and not remember the afterlife? It's in the memory bank, my friends. It's a matter of, are we going to tap into it? But it's not in our conscious mind, and there's a reason. If I remembered everything that I had learned and I remembered the afterlife, I would do things differently than allowing my innate free will to make decisions. Having choices is extremely important. When we have choices, we can be a better person for our choice or not. And we learn about ourselves that way. So I can choose to get in a bad relationship, or I can choose not to. If I get into that bad relationship, I'm going to learn a lot. Not getting in it, I'm going to learn a lot too. I'm going to learn resilience either way. But I can make these choices because there'll be different lessons. So it's really important to know that's why we don't remember everything from the other side, because I know if I remembered every detail, I would do everything different here. I wouldn't learn naturally, innately. I would just follow the code. I'd be like a robot, and all of us would. So that is the journey of leaving and transitioning from your body into the afterlife and then returning. I hope this was informative for you. I love talking about the afterlife. It's so beautiful and amazing. And it's a quandary to me that we don't remember that, but there's reasons. And I do want to say, if there's something that you would like me to talk about on this podcast, please drop me SusanGrau.com. Susan at SusanGrau.com is where you'd write me. You can go to SusanGrau.com and you can press the contact page. Let me know what you'd like to hear about. I'd love to know what you want me to talk about next. There's so many different subjects that it's hard to get my finger on one of them. And I want to ramble into a million things all at once. And I need to get focused here. So anyway, I hope everyone has a wonderful day, always remembering they're only a heartbeat away. Take care of you.
I loved our shared time together during this extraordinary soul journey on infinite life, infinite wisdom. Until next time, may the infinite wisdom we've uncovered guide you on your own unique path. Please don't forget to hit the follow button so you don't miss any new episodes. My book, Infinite Life, Infinite Lessons, is available now. Wishing you healing and love until we meet again. This is Susan Grau. Remember, they are only a heartbeat away. Take care of you.